In this video, we're going to take a look at Objective 1.2.A, which is called Use the Browser. And really, it's going to be a very quick and simple kind of objective as far as being able to just find components, whether it be sketches, components, or joints, show and hide components, and rename timeline elements, such as features and sketches. So here I have a construction block tower file here that we're going to use in order to do so. So as far as utilizing the browser is all over here on the left side. And as far as the organization goes, this is where your document settings will live. So as being able to show what units you're working with. They'll have certain named views like your top, front, right side, and home. So to be able to correspond those to the view cube. Then you'll have the origin, which are like all of your origin work planes, so your principal work planes as well as axes and origin point 0, 0. And then we start to see here are the various components. So like even as I hover over, being able to find any component, I can notice that if I hover over it, it will highlight in the graphics area. If I select it, it'll select in the graphics area. If I do the same thing, like for example, if I select a face or even any sort of one of these items, you'll notice that it'll also underline here in the browser. So as soon as I make a selection, it will find that for me. So right there in the browser. If I wish to hide something, you'll notice all these little eyeball icons. So I can hide by selecting it and be able to show or to hide it. And it's pretty easy. Sketches are also housed in the sketches folder. If we need to utilize some sketches, we're able to find all those that were used to create the various shapes that we have here, as well as any joints. So joints, here we have a bunch of rigid joints that are holding these items together. The item that's probably the most helpful is when you leave your cursor on top, it'll tell you what type of joint it is and what are the two components that have the relationship involved with them. So this is a rigid joint between the red cylinder and the green arch, and we're able to find or edit that if we need to. We can also hide some of these as well. So if I hide these, you'll notice the little joint icon goes away. If I turn them all back on, so they all kind of exist right here in this one spot, I can also turn off joints by just clicking the joints folder and hiding all of them. So no joints will show up. Same thing with any sketches, but also within any of the components, if we expand, we can also find we have bodies that also exist in order to create that component. So that's a little bit with utilizing the browser. Down below is the timeline. So here you can see all of the different actions that were done in order to create this file. So here there was a sketch that was created, then there was an extrusion that was done, and then you can play through that. So renaming those items is pretty easy. I can just go down here to, let's say, this first extrusion, and notice how both of the cylinders will highlight. So right now it's set up as extrude 1. If I right click or do a 2-finger click on this, I can always rename this, and here I can instead of extrude 1, I can go ahead and say this is the cylinder extrude and select enter. Now when I hover over that, I'm going to see that name, and it's a little bit easier to understand and read in the timeline. Same thing here with the sketch right before it. If I rename it, I can say this is the cylinder sketch. So this allows me to make this a little bit easier to read and to be able to keep track of what are the different sketches and features that belong to each component. This ends the objective and the review for using the browser, and being familiar with all those elements will make you a more proficient Fusion user as well as prepare you for the ACU exam.